The divorce rate in 2025 is an estimated 39 to 42%. Meanwhile, over one quarter of children under the age of 21 years of age have one parent living outside of the home as of 2023. So today we are going to delve into my co-parenting journey as a divorced parent and how that looks basically from, let's say, chaos to collaboration. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody tuning in today. I am Dr. Jerry Johnson, if you don't know me, and I am the creator of Common Sense Co-Parenting. I am here to empower parents to navigate the complexities of co-parenting with clarity, compassion, and collaboration. This will ensure a nurturing environment that centers on the well-being of the child above all else. My guest today is my ex-husband, Mr. Chancellor Wiley. I want to welcome you today, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here. You know it. You know it.
And the topic that we're going to be talking about today basically is our co-parenting journey. And I've had a few of my subscribers ask me, like, you talk about the ex-husband all the time. Where is the ex-husband?
I'm
like,
here. I'm alive. I'm here. I'm alive. It's still
like,
co-parenting. Still co-parenting forever.
I know it is. They're like, no, he doesn't exist. You just
Yeah.
talking to me, talking because they've never seen you. So we're gonna delve into our co-parenting journey today, and I know that people don't know you because I've never really said your name or anything like that. But tell the audience or my subscribers a little bit about yourself, if you would like.
Oh, let's see. Where do I start? Um, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, is where Jerry and I met. Um, I'm a professional, so I work at BJC Health as a project leader in IS, and I also teach. I've been teaching at the local university for about 18 years. Um, and and just enjoying life. In my personal life, I'm a little bit of a foodie. I like wine, to unwind, and so forth. I'm remarried, so
Yes.
I think that to share that. Maybe there'll be another podcast on how all that works, but
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
so so yeah, without going through like a lengthy, resume and so forth, but certainly glad to be here, um, to support Jerry, and looking forward to sharing our journey.
Thank you. Thank you. So, just to begin, I don't know if you know much about my framework for co-parenting, but I do talk about common sense co-parenting, the common
Hmm.
sense piece being that we should have the child's well-being at the front of our minds at all time, right? It
Absolutely.
shouldn't just be
Hmm.
about us. We've had the children or the child, and we need to make sure that we take care of and nurture the child above all else. Okay.
Correct.
But
Hmm.
within my co parenting framework, I have five characteristics. Okay. Those
Hmm.
five characteristics are communication, collaboration, cadence. That means that you need to have a rhythm to your co parenting situation, confrontation, of course, confrontation, and consistency. You have to have consistency in what it is you're doing. That's in anything, that's not
Right.
just in co parenting. So, within those five characteristics, let's start the conversation with which one kind of stood out to you as I said it, as far as our like co-parenting relationship.
Certainly, without a doubt, if I had to, pick one at most and then work my way down from there, would be communication. So communication is by far the cornerstone, in my opinion, of co-parenting, and it sets the domino effect of how effective the rest of the framework actually works. I think I saw a statistic that about 80, 90% of issues and problems center around communication. So that to me is the most important thing, and so forth. Um, Being able to show respect, I think created a space for me to be comfortable and supported. If I can, speak from my vantage point, um, being like I said, being able to communicate and navigate those conversations, I think we did a good job of always being respectful, and certainly, being supported. When I heard you pose the question, I hear your voice in my head. I can remember the times in which you would say, Jan, you should think about this, or you need to do this. And for all transparency, there were some times in which you said, Chan, you need to do this, right? They were non-negotiable types of statements, this sort of thing. So, but the thing is, in that space, I felt supported. It wasn't, us against each other. I didn't know everything. Certainly didn't position myself to be right or this sort of thing. But quite frankly, I just felt supported, and being able to communicate in a healthy manner allowed me to have a safe space to communicate, and hopefully, I offered the same to you as well. In on that, I think the other thing when I think about communication and why it resonates so much to me as I reflect upon us is getting to a space where we can have positive energy with that communication, right?
Mm,
I think I don't think I know our journey and so forth, and having lots of moments where it really wasn't about making a decision or um, having certain tough conversations. We actually engaged each other a lot, quite frankly, on nothing moments, right?
right.
So we communicated about when our daughter was one or the other, we would communicate about moments in her life. We would share pictures and so forth. So that made us feel connected. They gave us plenty of opportunities to engage one another that were just shared moments with our daughter and so forth. Um, and lastly, I think, and then I'll turn it back over to you. I believe the communication regularly about our daughter and so forth was healthy. It was connected. Like I said, I felt supported. Um, so yeah, so that's the reason why communication is so to me is so important. It's like I said, it creates a connection between you and I. It definitely supports our daughter, and there are two other ones that resonate with me as well. If you'd like for me to speak on those.
There's two? Okay.
Yeah, two more. It's hard to pick one,
It
right?
is.
It's hard to pick one, right?
I know
Um,
because they all kind of flow into each other, right? They all
right,
connect. Yeah.
right. Um, so I'll talk just a little bit about collaboration, right?
Okay.
Um, so one, to me, it demonstrates and reinforces to me that we're connected and unified in the welfare of our daughter. So that collaboration, the decision making, and so forth. Um, like I said, it just made me feel a part um, in this journey with our daughter and so forth, and to do that in such a positive way. And then there's this feeling that we're growing in the same direction, right? It's not, two separate households. I'm doing one thing and you're doing another, and so forth. I think we've done a good job of finding a space where we're always growing in the same direction. And like you said, putting our daughter at the center. And uh, I'll be honest, there's plenty of times if left to my own devices, it would have been a different journey, and that doesn't make it the right journey. I'm just saying that with my left to my own devices, things would be different. And I think the best outcome came out of us talking with one another, and not just because I'm on your podcast. More times than not, you will write more than I was. so, so So like I said, that feeling of rowing in the same direction and being a part of it feels good, and it definitely connects us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
I'll
So
move on to confrontation. Right, this is good, right? So certainly,
conversation. I've had
yeah.
a whole lot of conversations about that with people.
So like, I mean, like any relationship, we've had our bumps. We've had our come to Jesus moments, as well. And I think that the way we communicated normally, all the other times, um, set the stage for me to employing and cultivating my emotional intelligence. I've had a lot of growth through this journey, and so forth, but it definitely called upon some emotional intelligence to navigate those bumps and so forth. And I think, like I said, the all of the other experiences and so forth help dilute those moments where you can stay in a good headspace and so forth. And I'm so proud that through those moments we always return back to normal.
Right.
Without getting into the specifics and so forth. Certainly, if you pick any moment in time where we've had a bump, I might call you the next day, or you might call me the next day, and it was like the bump never happened. We're still talking. We share a laugh from time to time and so forth. And so I think that's that's huge, is the fact that we didn't spiral down any negative path through the bumps. We've always returned back to a level of normalcy and went back to our normal pathway.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think is very difficult for people to do. It's difficult for me to do it even like in work situation. I mean, in any friendship, work situation, whatever, bouncing back from the discord or bouncing back from the disagreement is really what determines how good or how healthy that relationship is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, taking 3-4 days to process something after you had an argument with somebody and you possibly live with them every day, that is
Mm-hmm.
torture to that other person.
Right.
Like that is emotional abuse to that other
Mm-hmm.
person because they're thinking about it. What did I do wrong? What are they thinking? Like stuff like that. And it's not healthy for anybody,
Right.
right? To get
Right.
into that type of um just that type of having ways of having disagreements. We
Mm-hmm.
can disagree, but you need to be able to come back to the table in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes you're going to agree to disagree.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
don't agree with that, period. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
there's no more discussion.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that should be okay. One thing I will say, and what I always say though, is if it has anything to do with the safety of your child, then that is a discussion.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there is no shutting down on that. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about the safety, physical, emotional, mental safety of your child, and the other parent doesn't want to talk about it, oh no, you don't get to not talk about that. Like,
Right.
or else I have to make other decisions as to what to do with our child
Right.
while they're with me, or maybe they won't come back to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to we have to really look at how we deal with disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are okay with fussing, cussing, all of
Right.
that, and they can bounce back from that. But you are going to find that what I've found is that a lot of, and maybe you can speak to this, a lot of men, not boys, a lot of men are not gonna go for that fussing, cussing, yelling. You know what I'm saying? Like want
Right.
to put hands on, all that type of stuff. A lot of men are not going to deal with that.
Right.
And neither as women should we be doing that.
Correct. Correct.
So, and I see a lot of that is that you don't know how to handle your anger. That emotional intelligence is very important. And I've talked
Hmm.
about that on my
Hmm.
podcast as well. So you started out with collaboration. So what I started out with in the episode is talking about from chaos to collaboration. So
Okay.
let's go backwards then, because you started out with collaboration, and on our next
Hmm.
segment, we're gonna talk about the chaos. But we're
All
gonna
right.
stick with collaboration here.
All right.
We'll stick with collaboration here. So since
Okay.
you started about collaboration, give me your view, because our views, our perspectives are different. We are living two different lives. You know,
Hmm.
even living in the house with someone, I tell people all the time, you are still living two different lives
Correct.
because the perspectives are different, the thought processes are different. Even if you're married to someone, you are still co-parenting because
Oh,
the two people have two different parenting styles that they've come from, backgrounds, all of that, and you're still co-parenting, even if you're married. So, from your perspective, going back to the beginning of when we had to start co-parenting,
hmm.
what was your view of our collaboration process? Like, how did that go? Like, where did we start, and where do you think we've ended up?
Okay. So for me, um, I can clearly tell you where my start was. Um, for me, I started with my conduct and emotions mostly driven by focusing on our daughter. I met with the counselor at the start that walked me through information and guidance that highlighted the idea of focusing the needs to support the child, support children. That was my regulator. That was my motivation. So this is what I leaned on was, you know, focused on our daughter and just 100% committed to um, doing everything I could to be supportive and um, looking through everything as focused on her at the very start. That's where I was. And so what that really means when I say that is, um, and we'll get into this, is it wasn't about you. It wasn't. We were in that early space, which is difficult in and of itself. So I found my spot to guide me in focusing on exclusively our daughter. And in terms of how it's going, I don't have enough words to describe. I mean, certainly we've had a we've been at this 23 years.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of years in the rearview mirror that are extremely, extremely, extremely positive. Um, with um, working together, certainly, I think our daughter is a testament in terms of the quality of our co-parenting and so forth. But by all accounts, I'm comfortable and know for a fact that you're my friend. I turn to you with a great deal of confidence and ease to reach out to you as it relates to our daughter and so forth. And quite frankly, we share a lot of laughs too when we talk. So that's kind of the journey, and in terms of how it's going, um, it, it's um, it's as good as I could possibly imagine in terms of being in a very extremely healthy space um, with my daughter's mom.
So people don't believe me most of the times when I say that you've been on vacation with my family
Oh
and
yeah,
our daughter by
absolutely,
yourself. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
and people are like, what? They think that's weird.
No, I could tell you. I mean, if you want to hear weird stuff, okay. I mean, how much do you want me to pull back the sheets on this thing? to the audience, and this is completely off the cuff. This is completely off the cuff. So it is true that I've, vacation, and I view um, my wife's family as my extended family. There's no ex from my perspective. Um, oh my God, it's I've been remarried for 12 years, and I can remember in the early days of dating and so forth, you sitting on the couch with my now wife Stacy,
Mhm.
uh, and I was upstairs, and I'm thinking to myself, what are they laughing about, right? um, so let me pull back the sheets a little bit further on that. Is certainly we had to, in those, we're getting into some relationship stuff, but certainly in that perspective, in the early days, we had to navigate relationships and on both of our parts and navigate that. And I think we did a good job of that transition and doing that in a healthy way and being supportive of each other's relationships and so forth. But back to your point in terms of spending time with family, I view us as having a blended family that's connected. My mom loved you dearly and continued to love you until she passed away. And the same is true of my family. They always talk about you, ask about you, and so forth. And certainly with your family, um, they kept me in the fold, and I enjoyed still being a tight knit family across the families and so forth. And so we get together across the board. Whether it be my wife and my stepdaughter or myself with your family and so forth. So to the audience, it is absolutely true. I go on vacations. We went to California last year or earlier this year. We were in California together. It was me, and unfortunately, Jerry couldn't attend. Seeing my nephew and niece and so forth. So yeah,
See?
there was a lot of weirdness
Now people
in
know
a
I'm
good
not
in
lying.
a good way, in a good way, in a good way, in a good
But
way.
even Stacy has traveled to,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
with
yeah,
you and my
yeah,
family. So
yeah.
uh, people, it is possible. People think it's weird, but I'm just like, I mean, that's my daughter's father.
Can can I share something that's completely off script?
Sure.
So so in the early years of our co-parenting and so forth, right? I mean, we were in a pretty good groove by this time. By the time I met Stacy and so forth, we were in a really good groove. And so we make sure both parents are taken care of on their birthdays and holidays and all that type of stuff. And so my now wife, she's formally married as well. And so I can vividly remember taking our relationship and our co-parenting and seeing the struggles and the tension that Stacy was having with her ex-husband and so forth, and sharing our experience on in terms of how to make that situation healthy, right? And it was transformative for them. They and Stacy started to borrow some of the ways in which we treated each other and started extending that to her ex-husband, and he lowered the temperature, and before long they had a healthy relationship. Same thing. I'm extremely close to her husband.
That's
you
awesome.
know he's wanted to come to Ashland's games, and we when we're together for family events, he and I and some of the other fellas, we're off in the corner chopping it up and this sort of thing, um, and so forth. So we freely go to each other's households, and we get on the phone. There was a magazine at the house, and when I went past it several days, I thought to myself, man, that looks like a manual. And so I was teasing him when I saw it. I said, man, you got a magazine over here with your face on it. And I was teasing Stacy, thinking, why you got your ex-husband over here in my house? And they just thought that was a real funny and so forth. So anyway, um, yeah. So I'll off rep from that, but we're weird, and yes, we all mix together that in one big happy family.
But I tell people all the time, it takes time to get there.
Absolutely,
Right? It does take time to get there, and it's not an overnight thing that because you can't control what anybody else does. And you can't control the development of another person. The only thing that you can control is how you handle and navigate the situation or the
absolutely,
situations. You can't do anything about what's coming at you, right? So people always say, well, you know, if y'all are still involved in each other's lives like that, like do y'all feel like y'all should have ever gotten back together or anything like that? I tell people no.
no, 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 no. I in an affectionate and loving way, right? Um, no. Um,
Say it again for the people in the
that's
back. Say it again for the people in the back.
no. It's different. It's different. It's different. I go back to uh, one of the strength moments for me was from your brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, Julian, in which he shared with me, things happen for a reason. And so that was one of my strength moments to pull myself together. Um, we we no, we should not get back together, right? Um, that but this is where the happiness, this happiness and joy is. But certainly we had our moment, but we shouldn't be back together
Exactly.
again. I'll leave it at
And
that.
realizing that. This is the
And
thing.
being comfortable with it,
And
right?
being comfortable with that.
Right,
It's very difficult for some people. Like
right,
very difficult because people keep it in the back of their mind the whole time, or maybe we can get back together, or maybe because we had it like this then. But like Julian said, and I say all the time, there everything does happen for a reason. Now,
right.
some people, yes, maybe y'all can get back together or whatever, but sitting in the fact that you had this child with this person, you liked them long enough to have a child with this person. Now, the minute that you have a child with this person, you're fine. But then when y'all are not together, all of a sudden you hate this person. How does that happen? Like
So,
the minute that y'all not together,
so
that
look,
your whole
can
feelings
I
about
can
somebody.
I so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. If I could, let me give some context around it. So
Go ahead.
as part of my growth process in this, um, I had to move away from ex-wife to mom. I had uh, the mom that is the daughter we have together, and so this allowed me to see you again. For me to be allowed to find and enjoy the experience of co-parenting, right? So one of the things that I do when this comes up with friends of mine that I'm trying to give some um, advice to in this space, right? You'll like this, right? I tell my friends in this space, I said, Jerry was amazing before me, with me, and here's the most important part. She's amazing after me, right? So this allowed me to see you through the proper lens, which in turn allowed me to cultivate our co-parenting and friendship, right? And you're spot on. Is the fact that we had a successful marriage. It just didn't work,
Mhm.
right? But that connection and that realization to know who you are, regardless of our relationship, was transformative for me, right?
That
I can brag about you. I know you, right? And
right.
so you're no different than the woman I met. You're no different than the woman that was with me, and you're equally as such, even though we're not together, right? And I think men have a huge problem with this. I can only speak for the men's tribunal, right? Right. Um, but we have some challenges moving from that space, and we have a challenge in which when we become separated from the person, to demean them and not see them as who they are. The fullness of you is way more than our marriage, and when we stop being together, truly you are who you are, and I know you. I know your qualities. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have got together. So I know you're fantastic, right?
Right. Right. But that changes. Like the
Yeah.
minute that
Unfortunately, it
we are
changes.
not with someone, that person becomes the villain
Right.
and
Right.
in the whole story. And we really need to work on that mindset, especially when we have children by that person,
Mm-hmm.
because our actions show everything.
Mm-hmm.
Our words can say one thing, but our actions not being aligned with those words and our actions are totally different. That's what really shows what you think about that person.
Right.
And our kids are seeing that. Our kids are looking at your behaviors more than they're listening to what you say. It's just like I tell people all the time, you can have weapons in your house and you can tell kids don't touch it, but they're watching you play with, clean,
Mm-hmm.
shoot. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, do all this stuff with this weapon, and you're making it look interesting and intriguing and all of that. You can tell them all day, don't touch it, but they want to do what you're doing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That do as I say, not as I do stuff does not work. They are
Right.
going to do what you do. They're not
Yeah.
listening to what you say.
Right.
So we have to understand that when we are no longer in a relationship with somebody, it's for a reason, number one. And number two, we need to make sure that our actions are aligned with our words, with what we're telling and we're showing our children. Because we could say that that's your father or that's your mother or what have you. You have to respect them, but then turn around and we're disrespecting them.
Mm-hmm.
What is that teaching your child? That it's okay to say it, but I can go over here and do this. That's not what we would need to be. It's not aligned. Okay. So in the spirit of talking about the like positive things and how we got here and all that type of stuff, what I'm going to do is we're going to stop this episode here. And in the next episode, guys, we are going to talk about the chaos that may happen in your co-parenting relationship and how we may have gotten through a couple of those chaotic moments ourselves. So we've talked about from chaos to collaboration when we finish these two episodes. And I'm going to shut this one down right now. And we're going to come back in the next episode with my ex-husband again, and we're going to talk about some chaotic moments. But hopefully, if you like this episode, you took away something from it, make sure you like and subscribe below. There'll be a description in the box as well if you want to see what we're talking about in the next episode. And as always, I'm going to tell you guys, go out there and co-parent with a purpose. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.